The night sky of the dead world was silent. No wind, no life, no movement. Only ruins stretched as far as the eye could see. Broken towers jutted out of the cracked ground like bones. The planet had been dead for millions of years, but tonight something had awakened. Tavarin, a lean alien with grey scales and 4 dark eyes, stumbled through the ruins. His breaths came fast and ragged. His clawed hands clutched a strange metallic cube that pulsed with pale blue light. Every beat of the light seemed to match his frantic heartbeat. He glanced over his shoulder, terror twisting his face. Something was following him. The shadows behind him shifted unnaturally, as if the darkness itself were alive. A deep growl rumbled through the ruins, shaking ancient stones loose. Tavarin pushed himself harder, running through crumbling archways and broken streets. His translator device, strapped to his neck, repeated his desperate whispers over and over. They were right. The prophecy is real. The prophecy is real. The ground trembled as a massive figure lunged from the darkness. Tavarin screamed and dove forward. A clawed hand slammed into the spot where he had been standing, smashing stone into dust. He rolled to his feet and kept running, the cube glowing brighter now, almost burning his hands. Ahead, he saw the entrance to an ancient temple. Its doorway was carved with symbols older than any known civilization. Tavarin rushed inside, his talons clicking on the smooth black floor. The air inside felt heavy, as if the temple itself was holding its breath. The growl came again, this time closer, echoing through the dark halls. He stumbled into a circular chamber filled with alien statues. In the center of the room was a pedestal, shaped like a clawed hand reaching upward. With trembling arms, Tavarin placed the glowing cube on the pedestal. The moment it touched, the entire temple came alive. Light burst from the walls, and the statue's eyes began to glow. Strange glyphs swirled in the air, projected as shimmering holograms. Tavarin fell to his knees, shielding his face. A deep, ancient voice filled the chamber, speaking in a language that had not been heard for eons. The translator device around. His neck crackled, then translated the message into words he could understand. "The final age approaches. Beware the coming of the species called humans." The word humans echoed through the chamber like a thunderclap. Tavarin stared in shock, his mind racing. He had never heard that word before. No one in the galaxy. And yet the way the voice spoke, it filled him with dread. His people had studied this prophecy for centuries, believing it was only a myth. Now he knew it was real. The shadows behind him moved again. The creature that had been chasing him stepped into the light. It was enormous. Twice Tavarin's size, with skin like cracked obsidian and burning red eyes. A guardian, placed here by the ancients to keep their secrets hidden. It roared and charged. Tavarin screamed. In a final act of desperation, he slammed his claw onto the pedestal, activating the cube fully. A beam of light shot upward, blasting through the temple, ceiling, and into the night sky. Across the galaxy, hidden sensors lit up, detecting the signal. Ancient warning systems that had slept for millions of years awakened. As the Guardian's claws closed around him, Tavarin's last thought was a single word, burned into his mind by the prophecy. Humans. The light swallowed him whole. Far away, in the shining halls of the Galactic Council, alarms blared. Counselors of dozens of alien species gathered in panic. The central chamber was a massive circular room, its ceiling a holographic map of the galaxy. Now a single point on the map pulsed red like a wound. A discovery had been made. Counselor Vithari, a tall insectoid with translucent wings, slammed, her claws on the table. "Explain this immediately. That signal has not been seen since the age of the architects." A nervous technician stammered, "It came from the dead world of Krethos, Counselor. It matches the frequency of the, prophecy." The room fell silent. Even the most powerful leaders felt a chill at that word. Counselor Drenak, A reptilian, being with golden eyes, hissed, "The prophecy was a legend, a myth told to frighten younglings. Are you saying it is real?" The technician swallowed hard. The message was translated automatically. It spoke of a species. The word was humans. Confused murmurs erupted across the chamber. None of the gathered races had ever heard of such a species. For thousands of years, the Council had believed they were the only advanced civilizations in the galaxy. The idea of an unknown species was unthinkable. Vithari raised her wings sharply for silence. "We must treat this carefully. If the prophecy is true, then this human species could bring about our salvation. Or our destruction." Drenak's tail lashed angrily. "We should destroy them before they rise. Why take the risk?" Vithari glared at him. "And what if they are meant to save us? The prophecy was never clear. If we act rashly, we could doom ourselves." Another counselor, an ancient floating being of pure energy, spoke in a voice that resonated through every mind. "We must learn more before we decide. Dispatch deep space probes, search the outer systems, find these humans." As the council debated, a shadowy figure watched from the balcony above. The figure was tall, armored, and silent. This was a Threx Dominion operative, a member of the most feared warrior species in the galaxy. The Threx had long despised the Council and its endless politics. Now they had overheard something far more valuable than political bickering. The operative activated a hidden communicator. "Report to the Threx warlord. Tell him this. The prophecy has been awakened, and the enemy's name is humans." In a distant, unremarkable corner of the galaxy, a small blue planet orbited a yellow star. Its people looked to the night sky with wonder, unaware of the storm that was coming. They called their world Earth. A deep space probe, no larger than a human car, drifted silently beyond Pluto's orbit. It was one of many the Council had sent to search for new life. For centuries, these probes had found nothing but barren rocks and frozen wastelands. Tonight, that changed. The probe's sensors locked onto Earth. It captured images of its cities, its people, its wars. It recorded human voices, laughter, and music. For the first time, the galaxy saw humans. The probe transmitted its findings back to the Council, but the signal was intercepted. On a massive Threx warship hidden in deep space, the images of Earth flickered across a view screen. The Threx warlord leaned forward, his armored claws tapping the console. "So, these are humans." His voice was low and dangerous. "They look fragile, weak, and yet the prophecy warns of them. That means they are dangerous in ways we do not yet understand." One of his generals growled, "Shall we destroy them before they become a threat?" The warlord's eyes gleamed with cruel delight. "Yes, we will strike before the Council even knows they exist. The galaxy will never see this prophecy fulfilled." He pointed a clawed finger at the image of Earth. "Prepare the fleet. We who go to war." Back on Krethos, the temple ruins lay silent again. The Guardian was gone, vaporized by the explosion of light. In the center of the chamber, the pedestal stood empty, save for a single fragment of the cube. It glowed faintly, showing a holographic image of a human face. Far above, among the stars, the ancient systems of the architects stirred. Machines older than time began to move, as if waking from a long sleep. Deep beneath forgotten worlds, vast mechanisms powered up, sensing the return of a long-lost creation. The prophecy had been spoken. The countdown had begun. The Galactic Council met in secret the following day. The holographic map now displayed Earth, highlighted in bright gold. Councillor Vithari addressed the gathered leaders. "This planet is the origin of the species called humans. We do not yet know their nature. They may be peaceful explorers or conquerors waiting to rise." Councillor Drenak bared his teeth. "There is only one way to be sure. We must send a fleet and burn their world to ash." Vathari slammed her, claws on the table. "And if they are the ones meant to save us, do you want to risk destroying the galaxy's only hope?" The energy being spoke again, its voice calm but unyielding. "The prophecy does not say what role humans will play. It speaks only of their coming. Until we know more, no action must be taken." The Council reluctantly agreed. A small team of observers would be sent to watch Earth in secret. Their mission: to learn everything about humans before making a final decision. But unknown to them, the Threx fleet was already on the move, slipping through hidden wormholes and dark corridors of space. Their ships were invisible to the Council's sensors. Soon they would arrive at Earth. On Earth, life continued as normal. In New York City, people crowded the streets, unaware that they were being watched from orbit. A satellite-like object drifted silently above the planet, its cameras focusing on humans going about their daily lives. In a dimly lit control room aboard a Threx scout ship, a young warrior studied the footage. He frowned. "They are primitive. They fight among themselves. They have no faster-than-light travel, no energy weapons. How could these creatures threaten the galaxy?" The ship's commander growled, "Do not question the prophecy. If it says they are dangerous, then they are. We will strike swiftly before they ever learn of the stars." The young warrior nodded, but unease gnawed at him. There was something about the human's eyes in the footage, something fierce, something unpredictable. Back in the temple ruins of Krithos, the final piece of the cube flickered brighter. It projected a single line of text in an ancient language. "When the species called humans awaken, the galaxy shall be forever changed." The fragment went dark, leaving only silence. Above Earth, the Threx fleet emerged from hyperspace, their massive warships blotting out the stars. The first invasion had begun. The blackness of space was calm. Stars glittered like distant diamonds. A small human spacecraft drifted near Mars, its metal hull shining faintly in the sunlight. Commander Elias Vance floated outside the ship, his suit tethered to the airlock by a thin safety line. His breath echoed inside his helmet as he worked on a damaged communications array. "This is Vance, making the final adjustments," he said, his voice calm. "Mission Control, do you copy?" Static filled his earpiece. No answer. He frowned. "Mission Control, you there?" The static suddenly vanished. A deep, alien voice rumbled in his head, a voice that wasn't coming from any human radio. "Are you human?" Vance froze. His tools slipped from his hand and drifted into space. "What the hell was that?" he whispered. His heart pounded. The voice came again, clearer this time. "Identify yourself. Are you human?" Vance spun in place, scanning the void around him. At first he saw nothing, then a shadow passed over him. Something massive was moving between him and the distant stars. Slowly, impossibly, a ship emerged from the darkness. It was vast, larger than a city, with a shifting liquid metal surface that reflected the stars like rippling water. Strange lights pulsed across its hull, alive and menacing. "Oh my God," Vance breathed. This isn't human tech." The alien ship stopped only 100 meters away. Vance's suit alarm blared, warning him of radiation and gravitational distortions. He yanked on his tether, trying to pull himself back to the safety of his ship, but it was too late. A beam of blue light shot out from the alien vessel, enveloping him. His body went rigid. He screamed, but no sound left his mouth. In a flash of light, he vanished. Vance awoke lying on a cold metal floor. The air smelled metallic and sharp. He sat up, groaning, and realized he was inside a massive chamber. Alien. Symbols glowed on the walls. Above him, a ceiling stretched so high it disappeared into darkness. Several towering figures surrounded him. Their bodies were covered in dark armor with ridges like the spines of a beast. They had 4 arms and glowing yellow eyes that burned with hatred. Vance realized instantly that these were not explorers. They were predators. One of the aliens stepped forward. Its voice filled Vance's mind, speaking through some kind of telepathic translation. "You are human. The prophecy was true." Vance's pulse raced. "Who are you? What do you want?" The alien ignored his question. Instead, it raised one of its 4 clawed hands and grabbed Vance by the throat, lifting him off the ground with terrifying strength. "You are dangerous," it hissed. "Your kind must be destroyed before you rise." Vance gasped for air, his boots kicking wildly. "We're not your enemy," he choked. The alien squeezed harder. Its yellow eyes glowed brighter. "Lies. Your species will bring either salvation or ruin to the galaxy. We will not risk ruin." Another alien warrior approached, bowing slightly. "Warlord, the fleet is ready to attack the human homeworld." The leader growled with satisfaction. "Good. Burn their planet. Leave no trace." Vance's eyes widened in horror. Earth. They were going to destroy Earth. Millions, billions of people, all gone. Summoning his last ounce of strength, Vance drove, his knee into the alien's lower torso. The creature snarled in pain and dropped him. Vance hit the floor and rolled away, grabbing a jagged piece of metal lying nearby. He slashed wildly, cutting one of the alien's arms. Greenish blood sprayed across the floor. The other warriors roared and rushed him. Vance swung the metal shard, but he was quickly overpowered. A blow to the back of his head sent stars exploding. Across his vision, as darkness closed in, he heard the warlord's voice echoing in his mind. "Take him to the artifact. Let him witness the truth before he dies." When Vance awoke again, he was in another chamber, this one circular and ancient. Unlike the rest of the ship, this place was built from stone and crystal, as though it had been taken from a long-dead world and grafted onto the vessel. In the center of the room stood a pedestal holding a glowing cube. The same cube Tavarin had discovered on Krethos. The warlord stood beside it, towering and proud. "This relic is older than our kind," he said. "It holds the words of the architects, the ones who shaped the galaxy. The prophecy speaks of your species." The cube began to glow brighter. Holographic symbols filled the air, swirling around Vance. A deep, ancient voice spoke, shaking the room with its power. "The final age approaches. From the hidden world shall rise a species of infinite potential. They will bring unity to the stars, or burn them to ash." As the translation echoed in Vance's mind, images appeared. He saw Earth, its people, its wars, its dreams. He saw the rise and fall of civilizations across the galaxy, all manipulated by unseen forces. And finally, he saw humans standing at the center of a vast web of destiny. The cube spoke one last word, heavy with meaning: humans. The light faded. The holograms vanished. Vance staggered backward, overwhelmed. What? What does that mean?" The warlord snarled. "It means your kind is too dangerous to be allowed to live. We will destroy you now before you destroy us all." Vance's jaw tightened. "You don't know us. You don't know what we're capable of." The warlord bared his fangs in a cruel smile. "We know enough. Prepare to witness the end of your world." He gestured to one of his warriors, who pressed a panel on the wall. A section of the chamber opened, revealing a massive viewport. Vance gasped as he saw Earth far below, its blue oceans and green continents shining like a jewel in the darkness. Around it, hundreds of Threx warships formed a ring, their weapons glowing. "No," Vance whispered. "You can't do this." "We can," the warlord replied coldly. "And we will." The alien leader raised his claws, preparing to give the command to fire. But before he could, the cube pulsed violently. A shockwave of light burst outward, throwing everyone to the ground. The walls shook, alarms blared across the ship. Vance shielded his eyes as the cube floated into the air, spinning rapidly. A beam of pure white energy shot out, striking the warlord and sending him crashing against the wall. The voice of the architects filled the room again, louder than before. Balance must be preserved. The humans are not ready. The Threx warriors screamed in terror as strange symbols burned into the air around them. Vance felt something in his mind unlock, a flood of knowledge and instinct. He saw flashes of ancient history, of battles fought long before humanity even existed. He saw that his people were part of something vast and terrifying. The cube dropped suddenly to the floor, silent once more. Smoke filled the chamber. The warlord staggered to his feet, enraged. "Seize him," he roared. "Kill the human!" Vance ran. He sprinted through the corridors of the alien ship, weaving between confused warriors. Sirens wailed, and strange lights flickered overhead. He turned a corner and slammed into a transparent wall. Beyond it, he saw the alien fleet beginning to fire upon Earth's satellites and defense stations. Explosions lit up the void like fireworks. "No," Vance whispered again. Fury surged through him. He couldn't let this happen. A nearby control panel flickered with symbols. Vance didn't understand the language, but he trusted his instincts. The vision from the cube had given him strange insights. Moving quickly, he pressed a sequence of glowing runes. The ship shuddered. Bulkheads sealed. Red lights flashed. "Warning!" an alien voice boomed through the corridors. "Self-destruct sequence activated!" The Threx warriors roared in confusion. Vance grabbed a fallen weapon from the floor, a sleek alien rifle that hummed with energy. He ran toward the hangar, blasting any warrior that tried to stop him. When he reached the hangar, his jaw dropped. Hundreds of small fighter craft were docked here, ready to launch. In the center of the massive bay was a single escape pod, shaped like a metallic egg. Vance sprinted toward it as the warlord's furious voice echoed behind him. "You cannot escape, human! Even if you flee, your species will die!" Vance dove into the pod and slammed his hand onto the control panel. The hatch sealed shut. A countdown began. The warlord appeared in the hangar doorway, his eyes blazing with hatred. He charged toward the pod, claws outstretched. Vance stared at him through the viewport. "You're wrong," Vance said coldly. "Humans don't give up. You think you understand us, but you have no idea." The pod launched, streaking out of the hangar like a bullet. Behind it, the Threx warship erupted in a massive explosion, tearing apart half the fleet. Shockwaves rippled through space, scattering debris in every direction. Vance's pod tumbled violently, alarms blaring. Through the small window, he saw Earth drawing closer. He gritted his teeth, holding on to the seat straps with all his strength. "This isn't over," he muttered. "Not by a long shot." In the ruins of the destroyed warship, a single transmission escaped the chaos. It reached the Galactic Council's secure network. Councillor Vithari stared in disbelief at the images. Human cities, human faces. The prophecy's words matched with what they were seeing. Councillor Drenak slammed his claws on the table. "The Threx were right. These creatures are dangerous. We must strike now before they grow too strong." Vethari shook her head, her wings trembling. "No, we must understand them first. We must know why the prophecy speaks of them." The energy being's voice filled the chamber. "The prophecy has been set in motion. The humans have been revealed. Nothing will ever be the same." Meanwhile, Vance's pod streaked through Earth's atmosphere, a burning comet in the night sky. It crashed into the Pacific Ocean with a massive splash. Alarms wailed as rescue teams scrambled to respond. Floating inside the wreckage, Vance stared up at the stars through the cracked window. He knew now that Earth was no longer safe. The galaxy was coming for them, and humans had no idea what they were about to face. As the waves rocked the pod, Vance clenched his fists. "They want a war," he whispered. "We'll give them one." The galaxy burned. The Threx Dominion fleet, though damaged, was still vast. Its warships streaked through space like black daggers, regrouping after the destruction of their flagship. They had lost many warriors, but their goal remained the same: the complete annihilation of Earth and the species called humans. In a shadowed command chamber aboard a surviving warship, the Threx warlord stood over a holographic map of the solar system. His armor was scorched, his lower left arm missing, severed during the chaos when Vance triggered the self-destruct. His glowing yellow eyes burned with fury. A subordinate warrior knelt before him. "Warlord, the human escaped. The artifact's power damaged our fleet. We await your command." The warlord's growl shook the walls. "The human has seen the prophecy. That alone makes him dangerous. Find him, bring me his head, then burn his world to ash." The warrior bowed deeply. "Yes, warlord." The warlord turned, his gaze toward a faint image of Earth on the hologram. "These fragile creatures do not understand what they are." The prophecy was a warning. If they awaken their true nature, no power in the galaxy will stop them. On Earth, Commander Elias Vance woke to the smell of salt water and disinfectant. His vision blurred, but he saw bright lights above him and heard urgent voices. His pulse is stabilizing. "Get him oxygen." "Sir, he's waking up." Vance sat up sharply. Pain exploded in his chest, and he gasped. He was lying in a military medical bay. Several doctors and soldiers surrounded him, staring as if they were seeing a ghost. "Commander Vance," a stern voice said. A tall woman in a dark uniform stepped forward. She had short black hair and sharp eyes. Her name tag read Colonel Sarah Whitlock. "You've been missing for 2 weeks. Where have you been?" Vance's memories came rushing back. The alien ship, the Threx warlord, the prophecy, the attack on Earth. His heart pounded. "Colonel, listen to me carefully," he said hoarsely. "Earth is in danger. There's an alien fleet headed this way. They're going to wipe us out." The room went silent. The soldiers exchanged uneasy looks. Whitlock narrowed her eyes. "Aliens?" she repeated. "Are you sure this isn't a hallucination caused by oxygen deprivation?" Vance slammed his fist against the metal bed frame. "They're real. I saw them. They captured me. And they have technology you wouldn't believe. If we don't act now, Earth will be destroyed." Before Whitlock could respond, an alarm blared. A technician rushed into the room, panic on his face. "Colonel, deep space sensors just detected multiple unidentified objects entering the outer solar system. Hundreds of them." Vance's blood ran cold. "It's them," he whispered. "The Threx." Later, alone in a secure chamber, Vance stared at his reflection. His body was covered in bruises, but something else troubled him. Ever since the artifact had activated aboard the alien ship, his mind felt different. Images and thoughts surfaced, unbidden, as if a hidden part of him had awakened. The door slid open. Colonel Whitlock entered, carrying a small holographic projector. "Vance," she said quietly, "we intercepted strange data from the wreckage you caused. It matches nothing in our databases. Do you know what this is?" Vance stared at the device. "It's connected to the artifact. When the projector activated, the room was filled with shimmering light. A hologram appeared, showing a figure unlike anything human or Threx. Its form was tall and elegant, almost divine, with flowing patterns of energy in place of skin. Its voice resonated deeply. To those who find this message, we are the architects. Before the stars had names, we shaped life itself. We seeded countless worlds, crafting species to bring balance to the galaxy. Among them, one was different, stronger, unpredictable, dangerous. The image shifted to a familiar planet, Earth. Primitive humans hunted across grassy plains, their fires glowing in the dark. We called them humans, the voice continued. They were meant to remain hidden, isolated, until the galaxy was ready. But if they are discovered too soon, their potential will ignite chaos. They will either unite the galaxy or destroy it. Whitlock stared, stunned. This means humanity isn't natural. We were created. Vance clenched his fists. The Threx know this prophecy. That's why they want to kill us, the hologram continued. If the prophecy is awakened, a choice must be made. Humanity will face two paths, domination or unity. There will be no middle ground. The light faded. The hologram vanished, leaving only silence. Whitlock sank into a chair. My God, all this time we thought we were alone. We thought we evolved on our own, but we were engineered like weapons. Vance's jaw tightened. The Threx fear us because they see us only as a threat. They don't understand what we can be, but if we don't stop them, they'll make sure the prophecy ends in destruction. Light years away, the Galactic Council gathered in emergency session. The holographic galaxy map showed a new image, Earth, marked with a pulsing red warning. The chamber buzzed with fear and argument. Councillor Vithari raised her wings for silence. The humans have been revealed. The Threx are already moving to exterminate them. We must decide now whether to intervene. Councillor Drenax slammed his tail on the floor. The prophecy is clear. Humans bring chaos. If the Threx destroy them, they do us a favor, Vithari hissed. And if the humans are meant to unite us, if we allow their destruction, we may doom ourselves. The ancient energy being spoke, its voice calm and powerful. Balance must be preserved. The prophecy speaks of choice, not certainty. The humans must be allowed to decide their own path. We will send a team to observe, but we will not act. The chamber erupted in anger. Several factions shouted at once. Hidden among them, a Threx spy silently transmitted the entire conversation back to his warlord. Back in the solar system, the first Threx assault began. Their fleet emerged near Mars, dark shapes blotting out the sun. Earth's satellites detected them too late. The Martian colony of New Dawn was the first to fall. Its glass domes shattered under plasma fire, scattering debris across the red desert. The few surviving colonists sent a final desperate transmission. This is New Dawn Base. We are under attack by unknown hostiles. They came out of nowhere. Static, silence. Vance watched the footage from Earth's command center. His hands shook with rage. They're not wasting time. Next, they'll come for Earth. Colonel Whitlock nodded grimly. We've scrambled every defense system we have, but our weapons are nothing compared to theirs. Vance turned to her, determination burning in his eyes. Then we fight smart. Humans don't need superior firepower. We need creativity. In a stroke of luck, one of the Threx scout ships was damaged during the Mars assault and crashed on one of Jupiter's moons. A special forces team captured a lone survivor, a young Threx warrior named Karesh. Inside an interrogation chamber, Vance faced the alien through a reinforced energy barrier. Karesh hissed, his claws scraping against the walls. "You are the human called Vance," Karesh said through the translator. "You destroyed our flagship. My warlord will flay you alive." Vance folded his arms. "Why does your kind hate us so much? You don't even know us." Karesh's eyes burned with fear and anger. "We know enough. The prophecy speaks of your kind. When humans rise, all others fall." Vance leaned closer. "Maybe the prophecy doesn't mean what you think. Maybe humans aren't meant to destroy. Maybe we're meant to lead," Karesh growled. "You speak like the architects. They were fools. They believed in balance. We believe in strength." Vance studied him carefully. "Do you? Or do you just fear what you don't understand?" For a moment, Karesh hesitated. There was a flicker of doubt in his eyes. Then he snarled and turned away. On the Threx command ship, the warlord prepared his next move. His spies had learned of the Council's plan to send observers. This enraged him. "The Council will interfere," he growled. "We will strike before they arrive." His generals bowed. "What of the prophecy, warlord?" The warlord's grin was full of teeth. The prophecy will be fulfilled by our hands. When the last human dies, the galaxy will know the Threx are the true masters of the stars. He pointed at the hologram of Earth. Begin the final assault. Vance stood alone in the command center, staring at the stars. The artifact's visions still haunted him. Suddenly, a blinding pain struck his mind. He staggered, clutching his head. Images flooded his vision, ancient cities, great wars, and the faces of beings beyond comprehension. A voice spoke inside his mind. "Elias Vance, you have been chosen." He saw the architects standing before him, their forms glowing like suns. "Your species is the key. We gave you strength, adaptability, and courage. But you must choose how to use them." Vance fell to his knees. "Why me? Why now?" "Because you have seen the truth," the voice replied. "The Threx seek to erase your kind. The Council is divided. Only humans can decide the fate of the galaxy." The vision faded, leaving Vance gasping on the floor. He understood now. The prophecy wasn't about destiny, it was about choice. Humanity wasn't doomed to destroy the galaxy. They could choose to save it. Back at the command center, alarms screamed. Earth's defenses detected the main Threx fleet entering orbit. Thousands of warships descended like a storm. The sky above Earth turned black with their presence. Colonel Whitlock shouted orders. "All units, prepare for impact! This is not a drill." Vance grabbed a headset. "This is Commander Vance to all forces. We don't have their technology, but we have something they'll never understand. Adaptability. Fight smart. Fight together. Show them what it means to be human." Across the planet, military units and civilian volunteers braced for battle. Fighter jets roared into the sky. Ground-based lasers powered up. Even old nuclear weapons were readied as a last resort. The first Threx ships opened fire. Cities burned. Towers fell. But humans did not retreat. Vance watched the chaos unfold, his face set in grim determination. "The prophecy has started," he whispered. "But it's not written how it ends." High above the battlefield, hidden behind a cloak of invisibility, a massive shape appeared. Larger than any Threx ship, its surface glowed with shifting patterns of light. It was unlike anything the galaxy had seen in millions of years. Colonel Whitlock gasped as her senses picked it up. What is that?" Vance's heart froze. He knew instantly. "The architects," he breathed. "They've returned." The giant ship's voice echoed across every mind on Earth and beyond. "Children of the stars, you were never meant to awaken so soon." The sky burned over Earth. Threx warships covered the heavens, blotting out the stars with their dark, jagged hulls. Plasma beams streaked through the atmosphere, striking cities and military bases. Explosions lit up the night like a second sun. People screamed and ran for cover as towers collapsed and fires spread. Sirens wailed across every continent. The invasion had begun. In the command center deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Commander Elias Vance stood before a massive holographic display of the planet. Red warning icons blinked everywhere. Each represented a Threx strike. Colonel Sarah Whitlock's voice cut through the chaos. "Enemy ships are entering low orbit. Civilian evacuations are failing. Our defense satellites are being destroyed one by one." Vance gripped the edge of the display table. His heart pounded. "We have to hold them here. If they take Earth, humanity is finished." Before Vance could issue orders, the room filled with a strange humming sound. A beam of golden light shot through the ceiling, forming a towering figure of energy. Everyone froze, staring in awe. The figure's voice rang in every mind, clear and commanding. "We are the architects. Long ago we shaped this world and your kind. We warned the galaxy that humans must not awaken too soon." Vance stepped forward. "Then why are you here now? If you created us, why didn't you stop this war?" The glowing figure's form shifted, becoming sharper and more human-like. because this is your trial. The Threx fear you, but they also misunderstand you. The prophecy was never about destruction, it was about choice. Humanity must prove it can rise without falling into chaos. Colonel Whitlock's voice trembled. And if we fail, the figure's light dimmed slightly, then the Threx will not need to destroy you. You will destroy yourselves. With that, the light faded, leaving the humans alone. Silence hung heavy in the room. Vance turned to Whitlock. His jaw tightened. We don't have time to argue about prophecies. The Threx are here now. Let's show the architects that we can fight for our future. In orbit, Threx warships unleashed their attack. Gigantic plasma lances rained down, striking Earth's defensive satellites. Explosions glittered like deadly fireworks in the upper atmosphere. From the surface, human fighter jets screamed into the sky, engaging alien drones. The battle was one-sided. Threx fighters were faster and heavily shielded. Entire squadrons of human pilots were destroyed within minutes. On the ground, tanks and mobile missile platforms opened fire. Some scored direct hits, taking down smaller Threx crafts, but most missiles were intercepted by alien energy fields. Vance watched the battle unfold on the display. Our weapons can't penetrate their shields. Whitlock slammed her fist on the table. Then we need to hit them where they're weak. Vance's mind raced. Suddenly, he remembered something Koresh, the captured Threx warrior, had said. They believe in strength, not creativity, Vance muttered. That's our advantage. They expect a direct fight. We'll give them chaos. Vance quickly outlined a desperate plan. Divide our forces into small strike teams. Target their supply ships and communication relays. Don't attack head-on. Make them think we're everywhere at once. Whitlock nodded, catching on. Guerrilla tactics. Force them to spread out. Vance turned to the communications officer. Patch me through to all forces. The officer nodded. Vance's voice boomed across every military channel. This is Commander Vance. The Threx think we'll fight like them. We won't. We'll fight like humans, unpredictable, stubborn and relentless. Hit them where it hurts, make them afraid. Across the globe, soldiers, pilots, and even civilian resistance fighters roared in response. The mood shifted from despair to determination. Aboard the massive Threx flagship, the warlord watched the battle with growing rage. His fleet should have crushed Earth by now, but human resistance was fierce and unpredictable. A scout rushed forward, bowing low. Warlord, the humans are striking in small groups. Our forces are stretched thin. Supply ships are being destroyed. The warlord's claws flexed. Cowards! They refuse to fight with honor. The scout hesitated. Their tactics are effective. The warlord struck the scout down with a single blow, his voice thundering. Enough excuses. Prepare my personal guard. I will lead the assault myself. If these humans wish to fight like insects, I will crush them beneath my heel. On the streets of London, a team of human soldiers hid among the ruins of a bombed-out building. Plasma fire scorched the air as alien drones patrolled overhead. Sergeant Diaz whispered into her comm. Target acquired. Supply crawler is in range. The massive alien machine rolled slowly through the street, carrying energy cells for the Threx war effort. Diaz signaled her team. Now! Explosives detonated beneath the crawler, flipping it onto its side. The resulting explosion lit up the night, taking out 2 nearby drones. Move! 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 Diaz shouted as her team scrambled to escape. Alien reinforcements swarmed the area, but it was too late. The supply line was broken. Across the world, similar strikes unfolded. Humans destroyed Threx weapons depots, hacked their communication systems, and ambushed isolated patrols. The tide of battle began to shift, but the cost was high. Millions were dead or missing. Entire cities lay in ruins. Back at the secure facility, Koresh, the captured Threx warrior, sat in his containment cell. He had been silent for hours, but now he watched the humans' frantic activity with interest. Vance, entered the room, his uniform scorched and bloodstained. "Your warlord is losing," Vance said. "You don't have to die with him. Help us, and maybe your people can survive." Koresh snarled. "Why should I betray my kind for you?" "Because you've seen it," Vance said, leaning closer. "The prophecy isn't about destruction. It's about change. Maybe humans aren't the threat. Maybe the threats are if they refuse to adapt." Koresh's claws twitched. His eyes narrowed. "My warlord believes only in conquest. If he wins, there will be no galaxy left to rule." "Then help me stop him," Vance urged. "Show him there's another way." Koresh was silent for a long moment. Finally, he said, "There is a weakness in our flagship's shield matrix. I will tell you where to strike." Using Koresh's information, Vance devised a daring plan to destroy the Threk's flagship. "We'll send a small strike team aboard their command ship," he explained to Whitlock and the others. "While the rest of our forces distract their fleet, we'll plant explosives at the shield generator. Once it's down, we'll hit it with everything we've got." Whitlock frowned. "That's a suicide mission." Vance gave a grim smile. "Then it's perfect. The Threks will never expect it." Koresh stepped forward, his towering form casting a shadow. "I will guide you through their defenses," he said. "But know this, human, if you fail, your species dies." Vance extended his hand. "Then we won't fail." The strike team launched aboard a stolen Threx shuttle, cloaked to avoid detection. Vance, Whitlock, Koresh, and a handful of elite soldiers sat in tense silence as the alien flagship loomed ahead like a dark fortress. As they approached, Koresh worked the controls. "Stay quiet. Their scanners will detect even the smallest energy surge." Vance checked his rifle. "Once we're inside, we move fast, no mistakes." The shuttle slipped into a maintenance bay. The team disembarked, weapons ready. The interior of the flagship was vast and alien, with walls that pulsed like living tissue. Strange symbols glowed faintly, casting eerie light. "This place is like a nightmare," Whitlock whispered. "Focus," Vance said. "The shield generator should be just ahead." They reached the generator chamber, only to find the Threx warlord waiting for them. His massive form towered over them, his armor gleaming red in the dim light. "I knew you would come, human," the warlord growled. "You think you are clever, but you are predictable." Vance raised his weapon. "This ends now." The warlord laughed, a terrible echoing sound. "No, Vance, this is only the beginning. When I crush you, the galaxy will see what happens to those who defy the Threx." Koresh stepped forward, his voice steady. "Warlord, you are wrong. The humans are not our enemy. You are." The warlord's eyes blazed with fury. "Traitor! I will tear you apart." He lunged at Koresh, claws slashing. The two Threx clashed in a brutal fight, their roars shaking the chamber. Vance and Whitlock fired at the warlord's guards, cutting them down. "Plant the charges!" Vance shouted. Whitlock set the explosives on the generator, while Vance provided cover fire. Plasma bolts sizzled past his head. Koresh fought valiantly, but the warlord was stronger. With a final devastating blow, the warlord impaled Koresh through the chest. The warrior gasped, then collapsed. "No!" Vance shouted. Koresh's voice was weak, but determined. "Finish this human!" With a roar of rage, Vance grabbed a fallen alien blade and drove it into the warlord's side. The alien bellowed in pain, staggering. Whitlock detonated the charges, destroying the generator in a blinding explosion. "Shield is down!" Whitlock yelled. The team sprinted for the shuttle as alarms blared. Behind them, the warlord roared in defiance. "Even if I fall, humanity will burn." Outside, Earth's remaining forces saw the flagship's shields collapse. Vance's voice came through the comms. "Now, hit it with everything you've got." Missiles, lasers, and railgun. Rounds streaked through space, slamming into the unprotected flagship. The massive vessel shuddered, then exploded in a fiery chain reaction. Pieces of debris rained down into Earth's atmosphere. Across the battlefield, Threk's forces faltered. Without their leader, their coordination broke. Human forces surged forward, driving them back. Cheers erupted in the command center. Whitlock wiped sweat from her brow, smiling for the first time in days. They're retreating. We did it. Vance didn't smile. His gaze was fixed on the horizon. This battle is over. The war is not. As the humans celebrated their hard-won victory, a massive shadow appeared in the sky. It was the Architect's ship, descending slowly toward Earth. A voice echoed across. Every mind on the planet, you have proven your strength, but strength alone is not enough. The final test begins now. Vance stared upward, his fists clenched. What do you want from us? The voice was calm and terrible. To see if humanity deserves to inherit the stars. The ground shook as a massive shadow fell across the ruins of New York City. People looked up in terror as the colossal Architect ship descended through the clouds, its hull glowing with shifting patterns of gold and blue light. It dwarfed even the largest Threk's warships. Entire skyscrapers trembled beneath its presence. A voice thundered inside every mind on Earth, so loud and deep that it rattled bones. Children of Earth, you have fought with strength and courage. But strength alone is not enough. The time has come for your final test. Prove that you are worthy to survive. The clouds swirled violently as beams of golden energy struck the ground in dozens of locations across the planet. Wherever they touched, strange monolithic structures rose from the earth, towers of light and stone, covered in alien symbols. Panic spread instantly. People screamed and ran. Some knelt in prayer, others stared in awe. In the command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, alarms blared. Commander Elias Vance gripped the edge of the display table as new data streamed in. Colonel Whitlock, tell me I'm not seeing this, he said, his voice hoarse. Colonel Sarah Whitlock stared at the map, pale and speechless. They're everywhere. Every continent. These towers, they weren't here before. It's like they just appeared out of thin air. Vance clenched his fists. No, not thin air. The Architects. The voice of the Architects boomed again, vibrating through the walls. The trial has begun. Within 3 cycles of your world's sun, you must complete the path we have set before. You fail, and your species will be erased to protect the galaxy. Whitlock's face drained of color. 3 days. They're giving us 3 days. Vance slammed his fist onto the table. Then we don't waste a second. We figure out what this trial is and we pass it. Hours later, Vance and a team of elite soldiers approached the nearest tower. It loomed hundreds of feet high, its surface glowing faintly. Strange runes shifted and pulsed like a living thing. Whitlock's voice crackled over the radio. Vance, satellites show identical structures worldwide. Whatever this is, the whole planet is involved. Vance raised his rifle, scanning the area. Stay sharp. We don't know what defenses these things have. As they drew closer, a massive circular doorway opened in the base of the tower. A deep hum filled the air. One of the soldiers, a young private, whispered, "It's like it's inviting us inside." Before Vance could respond, the Architect voice spoke again, echoing from the tower itself. To ascend, you must face the truth of what you are. The doorway glowed brighter. Vance took a deep breath and stepped through. Though, interior defied logic. Instead of walls and floors, there was only open space, filled with floating platforms and swirling streams of energy. Gravity seemed to shift with every step. The soldiers staggered, disoriented. One nearly fell off a floating platform, only for Vance to grab his arm and pull him back. "Stay close to me," Vance ordered. "This place isn't built for human minds." As they moved forward, strange holograms appeared around them. Scenes of ancient Earth. Primitive humans hunted mammoths. Tribes built their first villages. Then the images shifted to wars, empires, and the rise of modern civilization. A child's voice whispered, soft but chilling. "This is what you are. Fragile, violent, beautiful, dangerous." Vance frowned. "They're showing us our history, our potential." Suddenly, the platforms ahead shifted violently, forming a deadly maze. Blades of energy swept across their path. The soldiers opened fire instinctively, but their bullets vanished into the void. Vance shouted, "Weapons won't work. It's a test, not a fight. Look for patterns." Using his sharp instincts, Vance guided the team through the shifting maze. Each step required quick thinking and perfect timing. By the time they reached the far side, only half the team remained. Alive! The survivors collapsed, gasping for air. One soldier muttered, "This isn't a test, it's a slaughter." Vance shook his head. "No, it's a warning. The architects are showing us what happens if we fail." While humans struggled with the trial, the remnants of the Threx fleet regrouped far from Earth. Inside a dark war chamber, a new Threx general addressed his warriors. "The warlord is dead, but his vision lives. The humans must not pass the trial. If they do, they will become the dominant species of the galaxy." A scout hissed, "Their world is heavily guarded. Our fleet is weak." The general's eyes glowed with hate. "We do not need to conquer their world. We only need to disrupt the trial. If the architects see humanity fail, they will erase them for us." The Threx fleet set course for Earth once more. Back on Earth, Colonel Whitlock worked with scientists to decode the runes covering the towers. Every hour brought new reports of chaos, riots, cults worshipping the architects, and others calling for surrender. "This symbol keeps repeating," one scientist said, pointing to a glowing projection. "It translates roughly to choice or balance." Whitlock frowned. "Choice, that's what the prophecy said." Suddenly the room shook. An urgent message came through. "Colonel, enemy ships approaching Earth. It's the Threx." Whitlock's eyes widened. "Not now. Vance is still inside the tower." Inside the first tower, Vance and his team reached a vast chamber at the very top. In its center floated a glowing sphere of energy, pulsing like a heartbeat. The architect voice spoke. "Again, you have faced the past. Now face the present. Humanity's greatest enemy is not the Threx. It is itself." The sphere split apart, projecting holograms of global conflicts, political corruption, and acts of cruelty. Vance saw images of war, poverty, and hatred. He also saw acts of kindness, bravery, and unity. One soldier dropped to his knees, weeping. "We don't deserve to survive." Vance grabbed him by the shoulders. "No, that's the point. We're not perfect, but we can change. That's what makes us human." The voice grew louder. "Then show us. Make your choice." Two pathways appeared. Before them, one glowing red, the other blue. The red path pulsed with raw power. The blue path shimmered with calm light. "What do we do?" a soldier asked, trembling. Vance stared at the paths, his mind racing. "This isn't about weapons or strength. It's about balance." He stepped onto the blue path. The entire tower shook. The red path vanished in a burst of fire, but the blue path stabilized. The sphere of energy dimmed, then projected a new image, a map showing the location of the central tower where the final test would take place. Vance turned to his team. "We have the next step. Let's move." As Vance exited the tower, explosions rocked the horizon. Threx warships had returned, bombarding human cities again. Whitlock's voice came through his earpiece, frantic. "Vance, the Threx are here. They're targeting the towers," Vance cursed. "If they destroy the trial sites, the architects will think we failed." "Exactly," Whitlock said. "They're trying to make humanity look unworthy." Vance looked to the sky, watching alien. "Fighters swarm. We need to split our forces. Some protect the towers. The rest head for the central tower." Before his death, the Threx defector Koresh had left behind tactical data about Threx battle strategies. Using this, Whitlock coordinated a defense, human, Fighter jets lured Threx ships into narrow canyons, where ground-based missiles ambushed them. Resistance fighters used improvised traps to disable alien walkers in the streets. Despite heavy losses, humans held the line. For the first time, the Threx began to falter. The central tower rose from the ruins of what had once been Washington, D.C. It was larger than all the others combined, its peak lost in the clouds. Vance and his team fought their way inside, pursued by Threx warriors. The interior was even stranger than the first tower, shifting platforms, walls of living light, and gravity that twisted unpredictably. As they climbed, the architect voice returned. "This is the heart of the trial. At the summit, your species will be judged," one soldier shouted over the roar of alien gunfire. "And if we fail," the voice was cold and final, "then humanity will cease to exist." Near the summit, Vance's team encountered a horrific surprise. The warlord, thought to be dead, emerged from the shadows. His armor was cracked, and his body was burned, but his rage was undiminished. "You destroyed my fleet," he growled, "but you will not destroy my vengeance." Vance raised his rifle. "This ends here," the warlord charged, smashing through soldiers like a living tank. The chamber shook with every blow. Vance barely dodged a strike that would have crushed him. Whitlock fired her sidearm, shouting, "Keep him distracted. I'll finish the climb." Vance engaged the warlord in brutal close combat, dodging claws and striking with everything he had. Finally, using the environment to his advantage, he lured the warlord onto a weakened platform. With a desperate leap, Vance severed the support cables, sending the alien plunging into the abyss below. Vance reached the summit, bloodied and exhausted. In the center of the chamber floated a massive crystalline structure, glowing brighter than the sun. The architect voice filled the air. "Elias Vance, representative of humanity. You stand at the threshold. Speak now. Why should your species survive?" Vance took a deep breath. "Because we're more than our past. We make mistakes, but we learn. We fight, but we also love. We have the power to destroy, but we also have the power to build. We deserve the chance to choose our own future." The crystal pulsed. "And if, given that chance, what will humanity choose?" Vance looked up at the glowing light, his voice steady. "To unite the galaxy. To rise together." For a moment there was only silence. Then the entire tower erupted in golden light. Across the world, the other towers dissolved into harmless dust. The voice of the architect spoke one final time. "Your trial is not over, but you have taken the first step. Humanity has been judged worthy, for now." As Vance stumbled out of the collapsing tower, Whitlock rushed to his side. "You did it," she said, tears in her eyes. "You saved us." But Vance shook his head, staring at the night sky. In the distance, new stars glimmered. No, not stars. Ships, hundreds of them. "The architects weren't just watching us," Vance said grimly. "They were watching everyone." As the sky filled with alien fleets from across the galaxy, the architect voice echoed one last time. "Prepare yourselves, children of Earth. The true war is about to begin." The night sky over, Earth was no longer filled with stars. Instead, warships from dozens of alien civilizations hovered above the atmosphere like a storm of blades. Some were sleek and silver, others jagged and black, their shapes unlike anything humans had ever seen. The sight alone sent waves of fear through every human who looked up. People screamed in the streets, entire cities went silent as the sheer scale of the armada became clear. The Threx invasion had been terrifying, but this was something far greater. Then a deafening voice echoed across the planet, shaking the very air. "People of Earth, you have passed the first trial, but now the galaxy itself will decide your fate. Prepare yourselves, for you are no longer hidden." In the underground command center, Commander Elias Vance stared at the tactical display, his hands trembling. My God, Colonel Sarah Whitlock whispered beside him. How many are there? The communications officer replied, his voice breaking. Too many to count. At least 200 capital ships, maybe more. They're surrounding the planet. Vance's jaw tightened. The architects didn't just test us. They announced us to the entire galaxy. A transmission request came through. Vance nodded sharply. Put it on screen. The holographic projector flickered to life, revealing an alien council chamber aboard one of the massive ships. Dozens of alien species stood there, each stranger than the last. Some had wings, others tentacles, and one was a floating mass of glowing crystals. A tall, insectoid figure stepped forward, its mandibles clicking. A translator rendered its voice into English. Humans of Earth. I am Councillor Jarek of the Galactic Assembly. Your existence was hidden for millennia, but now you have awakened. The prophecy has been fulfilled. Vance kept his voice steady. We don't want war. We only want to protect our people. Jarek's eyes glowed cold. Blue, the prophecy says humans will either unite the galaxy or destroy it. We are here to ensure you do not choose the latter. Another alien, reptilian and armored, hissed. Why speak with them at all? The Threks were right to try to erase them. Humanity is too dangerous. The council chamber erupted in shouting. Some aliens argued for negotiation, others demanded immediate annihilation. Whitlock leaned close to Vance. They're divided. That might be our only chance. Vance raised his voice. Listen to me. Humanity is not a threat unless you make us one. Judge us by our actions, not your fears. For a brief moment, silence fell. Then a new voice cut through the tension. No more words. The hologram shifted, revealing a massive Threx general, scarred and furious. His fleet appeared behind. Him, reinforcements drawn from deep space. Humans are a plague, the general growled. We will finish what our warlord began. The transmission ended abruptly. Moments later, Threx warships opened fire, not just on humans, but on the other alien factions as well. The skies erupted in chaos. Energy beams streaked through the void as alien fleets turned on one another. Earth became the center of a massive galactic battle. Explosions lit up the atmosphere like falling suns. On the surface, shockwaves from orbital strikes rattled cities. Fighter jets scrambled, desperately trying to avoid debris raining from the sky. Civilian evacuation routes were overwhelmed. Whitlock barked orders in the command center. Deploy every defense we have. Keep them away from population centers. Vance paced, thinking fast. No, if we fight them all, we lose. We need allies. Whitlock frowned. Allies? They're all trying to kill each other. Not all of them, Vance said. Some factions wanted to negotiate. If we can reach them, maybe we can turn the tide. Using stolen Threx codes provided by Koresh before his death, Vance transmitted a secret message to the more peaceful factions. This is Commander Elias Vance of Earth, he said. We don't want this war. Help us stop the Threx, and we'll prove humanity can be trusted. Minutes later, a hologram appeared beside him, a crystalline alien named Virella, its form glowing softly. Human, Virella said, you speak boldly for a primitive species. But the Threx have grown too powerful. If they win, no one will be safe. Then fight with us, Vance urged. Help us take down their flagship, and we'll stand beside you. Virella hesitated. Finally, it said, Very well, but if you betray us, your species will be erased. Fair enough, Vance replied grimly. With Virella's fleet on their side, humanity launched a counterattack. Massive human warships, retrofitted with alien technology, rose from hidden bases around the world. Their engines roared as they joined the fray above Earth. The battle was like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Human fighters darted through the chaos, striking Threx ships with precision. Virella's crystalline vessels projected powerful energy shields to protect Earth's atmosphere. The Threx countered with swarms of biomechanical drones, overwhelming weaker ships. Vance led from the bridge of Earth's flagship, the USS Dauntless. All units focus fire on the Threx command ship. If we take it out, their fleet will collapse. Whitlock's voice came over the comms. Enemy drones breaching the lower atmosphere. Civilian cities are at risk. Vance gritted his teeth. Divert half our fighters to defend the surface. We hold here. As the battle raged, the architect ship descended closer. Its glowing hull emitted waves of energy that froze every weapon mid-fire. Ships hung suspended, locked in place. The architect voice boomed across space. Enough! This conflict proves our fears. The galaxy cannot survive divided. Vance shouted into the comm. If you're going to judge us, then judge us fairly. Don't punish the innocent because of the Threx. The light pulsed brighter. This is not punishment. This is balance. Only one species will lead. The rest will submit or perish. The fleets began to move again. Panic spread among the alien factions. Some immediately turned on one another, desperate to avoid being destroyed. Whitlock's face went pale. They're forcing us into a galactic war. Vance slammed his fist on the console. Then we fight to win. Just as Vance's forces gained ground, a massive explosion rocked the battlefield. The Threx general's fleet had unleashed a hidden weapon, a planet-killer cannon hidden inside an asteroid field. Its beam tore through Virella's ships, shattering entire formations. Virella's hologram flickered on the Dauntless bridge. My fleet is breaking apart! We cannot hold much longer! Vance's mind raced. Where's that weapon coming from? A sensor officer pointed at the display. There! But it's shielded. No direct attack will work. Vance turned to Whitlock. Then we go in from the inside. Whitlock stared at him. You're talking about boarding it? Yes, Vance said, just like we did with the last flagship, but this time we don't just disable it. We take control. A small team of humans and Virella's warriors boarded a stealth shuttle and raced toward the asteroid field. Alien fighters swarmed them, but Earth's pilots fought desperately to clear a path. Inside the shuttle, Vance checked his gear. This weapon can wipe out entire planets. If the Threx fire it again, Earth won't survive. Whitlock nodded grimly. Then we stop it here. Virella's envoy, a crystalline warrior, spoke in a melodic tone. Our survival depends on your courage, human. Vance smirked. Courage is one thing we have plenty of. The shuttle docked with the massive weapon platform. As the team disembarked, they were met with heavy resistance. Threx soldiers poured from every corridor, their claws flashing. Go! Vance shouted, opening fire. Plasma bolts lit up the dark halls. The battle was brutal and close quarters, but the combined team pushed forward step by step. Finally, they reached the control chamber. At its center floated a swirling mass of energy, the heart of the planet-killer weapon. Consoles lined the walls, covered in alien symbols. Whitlock began hacking the controls. I can redirect its power, but it'll take time. Suddenly, a massive figure appeared in the doorway. The Threx general himself had arrived, his armor gleaming with fresh scars. You cannot stop destiny, he snarled. The humans will burn, and the galaxy will be free of your chaos. Vance stepped forward, weapon raised. Not while I'm still breathing. The two leaders clashed in a vicious battle. Vance ducked beneath claw strikes, countering with powerful blows. Sparks flew as their weapons clashed. Meanwhile, Whitlock shouted over the chaos, Almost there! Keep him busy! Vance finally drove his blade into the general's chest. The alien roared, then collapsed, lifeless. Whitlock, now! Vance yelled. She slammed the final command into the console. The energy core shifted from red to blue. It's done, she said. The weapon is under our control. Back in orbit, the massive cannon turned toward the Threx fleet. All ships clear the line of fire, Vance ordered. The cannon fired a brilliant beam of energy, tearing through the Threx command ship and destroying dozens of enemy vessels. In a single shot, The remaining Threx forces broke and fled, their formations collapsing. Cheers erupted across the human and allied fleets. Whitlock grinned. "We did it. The Threx are retreating." Vance's face remained grim. "It's not over yet. The architects are still watching." The architect ship descended once more, its presence overwhelming. "Humans and allies, you have proven your strength, but strength breeds ambition. If you cannot unite, the galaxy will fall into eternal war." Virella's hologram appeared beside Vance. "We will stand with you, Elias Vance. Together, perhaps we can build something greater." Before Vance could respond, the architect voice grew even louder. "Then show us. In 3 cycles of your sun, a new order must be forged. Fail, and we will choose a ruler for you." The architect's ship vanished in a flash of light, leaving silence. In its wake, Whitlock turned to Vance. 3 days again, this time to unite the galaxy. Vance stared at the ruined battlefield, his expression hard. 3 days to prevent total war. As the Allied fleet regrouped, sensors detected a strange anomaly beyond the edge of the solar system. A black, swirling vortex had appeared, devouring light itself. "Commander," the sensor officer said, panic in his voice, "we're picking up massive energy readings. Something's coming through." The vortex expanded, and an enormous silhouette emerged, larger than even the architect's ship, its shape monstrous and ancient. Virella's voice trembled. That is not part of the assembly. That is something far older." Vance's eyes widened in horror. "What now?" The creature's voice echoed across space, cold and alien. "The architects have failed. The galaxy is mine." The stars disappeared. The blackness of space itself seemed to shatter as the colossal vortex widened, spilling waves of energy that shook every ship in orbit. Alarms screamed across the fleets of humans and aliens alike. The void bent and twisted as a monstrous silhouette emerged, vast, ancient, and unlike anything ever seen. Its body was a writhing mass of black tendrils, each one large enough to crush a city. Its many glowing eyes burned like dying suns. The very sight of it filled every living being with terror. Then came the voice, cold and overwhelming, echoing inside every mind. "The architects are no more. Their prophecy ends here. I am the first. I am the last. I am the devourer of stars." On the bridge of the USS Dauntless, Commander Elias Vance gripped the console, sweat streaming down his face. "My God," whispered Colonel Sarah Whitlock, "what is that thing?" Virella, the crystalline alien ally, trembled so violently its light dimmed. "That is no living creature. It is the ancient darkness the architects sealed away eons ago. If it is free, the galaxy will not survive." The creature's voice roared again, shaking the fleet. "Choose, mortals. Submit to my rule or be unmade." The stars themselves seemed to flicker. Ships across the battlefield powered down, their crews. Paralyzed by fear, without warning, the devourer lashed out. A single tendril of pure shadow struck a nearby planet, slicing it in half. Billions of tons of rock and molten core scattered into space. The shockwave destroyed hundreds of fleeing Threx ships. Panic swept through the fleets. Entire factions began retreating blindly, colliding with one another. Even hardened warriors screamed in terror. Vance slammed his fist on the console. "Get me fleet-wide comms!" The comms officer hesitated. "Sir, most systems are failing. The energy field is interfering." "Then shout loud enough for the whole galaxy to hear," Vance barked. "We're not running, we're fighting." He turned to the bridge crew, his voice like iron. "If we retreat now, Earth dies. Every world dies. We hold the line." Whitlock nodded, steel in her eyes. "Let's show this monster what humans are made of." Virella projected its glowing. "Form into the center of the bridge. Vance, listen to me. The devourer cannot be killed by force alone. Its power comes from consuming divided civilizations. That is why the architects created the prophecy." Vance's mind raced. So if we unite, we weaken it. Yes, Virella said. But unity must be real. Every species must stand together under one leader. Only then will the devourer lose its hold. Whitlock swallowed hard. That's what the prophecy meant. Humanity was never just a threat. We're the tipping point. Vance stared at the swirling vortex on the screen. So we either unite the galaxy or watch it burn. Vance activated every communication channel he could reach. Alien leaders appeared as flickering holograms, their faces filled with fear and rage. Many screamed over one another, blaming humans for the awakening of the devourer. Vance slammed his hand on the console. Enough! Look outside your windows. That thing doesn't care who started this war. It doesn't care about your grudges or our differences. It will consume us all. The holograms went silent. Vance continued, his voice steady and powerful. The prophecy didn't say humans would destroy the galaxy. It said we would decide its fate. Right now, we have a choice. Unite under one banner, ours, or die divided. The reptilian warlord who once demanded Earth's destruction growled. Why should we follow humans? Vance met his gaze without flinching. Because we're the only ones stubborn enough to fight to the very end. We don't break, we don't bow, and we don't stop until we win. One by one, other leaders began to nod. Even the warlord lowered his head slightly. Very well, he hissed. We will follow. Virella's voice rang like a bell. So it is done. The galaxy has chosen. As the fleets aligned under a single command, the devourer let out a soundless scream of rage. Unity! I will tear your unity apart! Its tendrils lashed out, striking hundreds of ships. Even as vessels exploded, the newly united fleet counterattacked. Human and alien warships fought side by side, their combined firepower shaking the void. On the dauntless bridge, Whitlock shouted over the chaos. Shields failing. We can't take another direct hit. Vance's jaw tightened. Keep firing. Aim for its eyes. Massive beams of energy lanced through the darkness, striking the creatures. Glowing orbs. The devourer roared, momentarily stunned. Virella's crystalline ships unleashed a harmonic resonance that disrupted the monster's energy field. Now! Virella cried. Its defenses are weakening! But even weakened, the devourer was too powerful. Whitlock turned to Vance, her face pale. Elias, even united, we can't destroy it. It's too big. Vance's mind raced. Then he remembered the architect relic, the cube that had revealed the prophecy. If that thing is the reason the architects existed, then their tech might be the key to stopping it. Virella pulsed brighter. The relic is aboard your ship, yes? Yes, Vance said. If we overload it, maybe we can create a chain reaction strong enough to tear the devourer apart from the inside. Whitlock's eyes widened. That would destroy the Dauntless, and anyone aboard. Vance didn't hesitate. I'll do it. No! Whitlock snapped. We'll find another way. There is no other way, Vance said firmly. If this thing lives, Earth dies. The whole galaxy dies. It has to be me. Virella's voice was solemn. A leader who sacrifices himself for others, that is true unity. The Dauntless plunged straight toward the devourer, while the rest of the fleet provided covering fire. Massive tendrils whipped around them, smashing through dozens of allied ships. On the bridge, the crew fought desperately to keep the ship intact. Engines failing, an officer shouted. Reroute power from weapons, Vance ordered. Just get us close. The Dauntless dove into the creature's massive central maw. Inside there was no space or time, only swirling black energy and the echo of countless voices crying out in despair. Whitlock stared in horror. It's feeding on the souls of every world it's destroyed. Vance set the relic cube onto the console. It pulsed with bright white light. Not for much longer, the devourer's voice boomed inside their minds. Foolish human, you think one spark of light can end the eternal darkness. I will consume you, and through you, your precious Earth. Vance ignored it. He keyed in the overload sequence. As the cube's light intensified, alarms blared across the ship. Whitlock grabbed his arm. "Elias, if you do this, there's no coming back." He looked at her, calm and resolute. "We've been underestimated since the day we crawled out. Of the mud, let's show the galaxy what humans really are." Whitlock's eyes filled with tears. "You'll be remembered." Vance smiled faintly. "Just make sure it's for the right reasons." He pressed the final command. The relic exploded in a blinding burst of light. The devourer screamed, its tendrils thrashing wildly, its many eyes shattered, releasing torrents of energy. Across the galaxy, every united fleet felt the surge of power. Ships rocked violently as the darkness began to unravel. Virella's voice rang out like a song. "It is working. The unity of life is breaking its hold." The devourer let out one final ear-splitting roar before its massive form disintegrated into dust. The vortex collapsed in on itself, leaving only the cold, silent stars. When the light faded, the Dauntless was gone. Silence filled the void. The united fleets floated in stunned disbelief. Whitlock stood on the bridge of a rescue vessel, tears streaming down her face. "He did it," she whispered. "Elias saved us all." Virella appeared beside her, its glow brighter than ever. "His sacrifice has given the galaxy a second chance. But now comes the true test. Will you remain united?" Whitlock wiped her eyes and straightened her shoulders. "We will, for Elias, for humanity." The reptilian warlord stepped forward on the comms. "From this day, Earth shall have a seat at the Galactic Council. Humanity has earned its place." Cheers erupted across the fleets. For the first time in galactic history, every species stood together as one. On Earth, people gathered in the streets, staring up at the stars. News spread quickly. The war was over. The devourer was gone. Humanity had not only survived, but led the galaxy to victory. Statues were built in Vance's honor. Songs were sung of the human who defied the darkness. But in the quiet corners of the galaxy, whispers remained. Some feared that one day another darkness would rise. Others believed that humanity itself would be the next great challenge. Whitlock stood alone on a cliff overlooking the ocean, a relic fragment clutched in her hand. "You gave us a chance, Elias," she said softly. "We won't waste it." Far beyond the known stars, deep in the ruins of a forgotten world, a single ember of darkness flickered back to life. A faint, chilling voice whispered from the shadows. "Unity breeds stagnation. Stagnation breeds weakness. And weakness will always be devoured."